Good morning, myself k.karthik. I am once again triple A section. Today's my topic is advantages and disadvantages of overhead distribution compared to underground distribution. Advantages and disadvantages of overhead distribution compared to underground distribution. Introduction to distribution methods. Overhead and underground distribution systems are two primary methods for delivering electricity. Each method has its own set of advantages and disadvantages that impact operations. Understanding these two differences is crucial for untitled engineers and urban planners. Overview of overhead distribution. Overhead distribution involves power lines suspended on poles above ground. This method is the most common form of electricity distribution in many regions. It is often easier and quicker to install compared to underground systems. Overview of underground distribution. Underground distribution system place power lines below ground level. This method is often used in urban areas too. Reduce visual impact and enhance aesthetics. It typically requires more expensive planning and installation effects than overhead systems. Cost comparison, overhead distribution. Overhead distribution systems are generally less expensive to install than underground systems. The cost associated with poles, wires, and labor are usually lower compared to techniquing for underground lines. Maintenance cost can also be lower initially depending on the environment and weather conditions. Cost comparison, underground distribution. The installation of underground system can be scientifically more expensive due to excavation and materials. Long-term maintenance may also incur higher costs due to difficulties in accessing underground lines. However, underground systems can reduce costs related to store damage and repairs over time. Reliability of overhead distribution. Overhead lines are more sustainable to weather-related dispersions like storms and high winds. Fallen branches and other debris can cause power outages, impacting reliability. Untitles must invest in regular maintenance to mit- mitigate this risk and ensure system reliability. Reliability of underground distribution. Underground systems are generally more resilient to weather related distortions. They are less likely to experience outages from falling trees or several weather conditions. However, when underground outages occur, they can be more challenging, time consuming to maintenance and repair. Aesthetic congestion overhead distribution. Overhead power lines are often viewed as unsight and can detract from the land space. They may also pose issues for property values in residential areas. Some communities express a strong preference for underground systems to enhance visual appeal. Aesthetic Considerations underground distribution. Underground systems provide a cleaner and more visual appe- appealing environment. They eliminate visual clutter of power lines and poles in urban and suburban settings. This aesthetic benefit can be a scientific factor in community planning and development. Environmental impact overhead distribution. Overhead lines can cause environmental risk through deforestation and wildlife dispersion. Birds and other wildlife can be affected by collisions with power lines. However, overhead systems may have a smaller footprint compared to the expensive examination required for underground lines. Environmental impact underground distribution. Underground systems can minimize the impact on wildlife habits and reduce visual pollution. Affection can distribute local ecosystems and soil composition impacting flora and fauna. Proper planning and implementation are essential to mitigate any negative environmental effects. Maintenance challenges overhead distribution. Regular maintenance is vital for overhead distribution to manage wear and tear from exposure to elements, and entities must conduct routine inspections and repairs to ensure continued reliability. Accessibility for maintenance is generally a comfort to underground systems. Maintenance challenges underground systems. Maintenance of underground systems can be more complex and time consuming. Locating floods or damage underground requires specialized equipment and technicians. However, the frequency of maintenance may be lower due to reduced exposure to external factors. Conclusion. Choosing between methods. The choice between overhead and underground distribution depends on various factors including cost, aesthetics, and reliability. Undertakings must weigh the pros and cons based on the specific needs of their service areas. Hybrid approach may sometimes be the best solution, utilizing both methods where appropriate. Future trends in distribution. Advances in technology may influence the efficiency and cost effectiveness of both distribution methods. Innovations in underground construction may reduce installation costs and time. The shift towards renewable energy sources may also impact distribution method performance in the future. Thank you.